Greetings. Welcome back to IBI, India Business Insights. In this video, we'll be looking at the growth of the modern telecom industry in India, especially after the 2000s. Before we move forward, hit the bell icon to subscribe to India Business Insights and stay tuned to many more insightful videos. The government corporatized the operations wing of Department of Telecommunications in the year 2000 and named it Department of Telecommunication Services, which was later named Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. The creation of BSNL was expected to provide a level playing field in all areas of telecom services between government operators and private operators. With the corporatization of the two services providing departments, DTS and DOT, into a PSU BSNL, the role of Telecom Commission had changed. Now, the Telecom Commission was also responsible for policy formulation, licensing, wireless spectrum management, administrative monitoring of PSUs, research and development and standardization, validation of equipment, etc. A proposal made to allow raising the stake of foreign investors from 49% to 74% was rejected by the opposition and leftist thinkers. Domestic business groups wanted the government to privatize VSNL. And finally, in April 2002, the government decided to cut its stake in VSNL from 53% to 26% and threw it open to private enterprises for sale. Tata finally took a 25% stake in VSNL. After March 2000, the government became more liberal in making policies and issuing licenses to private operators. The government further shifted adjusted gross revenue for cellular service providers so that the license fees became a percentage of AGR, and it also increased the allowable stake to 74% for foreign companies. Because of all these factors, the service fees was finally reduced and the call costs were cut greatly, enabling every common middle-class man in India to afford a cell phone. By October 2005, the total number of cell phone users in India was about 68 million. This data revealed the real potential for growth of the Indian mobile market. Many private operators such as Reliance Communications, Jio, Tata Indicom, Vodafone, Loop Mobile, Airtel, Idea, etc. successfully entered the high-potential Indian telecom market. In the initial 5-6 years, the average monthly subscriber additions were around 0.05 to 0.1 million only. However, after a number of proactive initiatives taken by the regulators and licensors, the total number of mobile subscribers increased rapidly in India. In India, the internet was available via the Educational Research Network to educational and research institutes in the year 1986. The public commercial internet access in India was launched by VSNL on 15th August 1995. At that time, VSNL had a monopoly over international communications in the country, and private enterprises were not permitted in the sector. The internet service, known as the Gateway Internet Access Service, provided a speed of 9.6 kbit per second and was priced at Rs 5,200 for 250 hours for individuals, Rs 16,200 for institutional dial-up accounts, and significantly higher for leased line services. The Department of Telecommunications conducts license auctions for electromagnetic spectrum in India. Our country has been among the early adopters of spectrum auctions that began in 1994 and were carried out in 1995, 1997, 2000, 2001, 2010, 2012, 13, 2014, 15, 16, 2021 and 2022. The first auction was held in 1994. The government divided the country into 23 telecom circles and awarded licenses and spectrum to 2 operators per circle. In the 4 metro circles, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata and Mumbai, the Department of Telecommunication fixed several prerequisites for potential bidders to meet in order to be eligible for the auction. The criteria included financial resources, reliability, and investment in research, as well as specific details such as the rate of network rollout, pricing, quality, and competitiveness. The licenses and spectrum for the remaining 19 telecom circles were auctioned and allocated in the year 1995. In these circles, the government required that all potential bidders must have foreign partners in order to be eligible. The government proceeded on the assumption that no Indian company at that time had the financial resources and technical knowledge to provide large-scale mobile services. In 2008, A. Raja, Telecom Minister in the year 2007, and several other officials were accused of allotting 122 2G spectrum licenses to telecom operators at throwaway prices, causing a loss of rupees 1.7 lakh crores. This was the calculation of the CAG report. However, this figure has been debated several times. The 2G spectrum scam is considered to be one of the biggest scams in the history of independent India. On 16 November 2010, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India came out with its report on the issuance of licenses and allocation of 2G spectrum by the Department of Telecom. CAG, then headed by Vinod Rai, revealed that 2G licenses had been issued to ineligible candidates who had deliberately suppressed facts, disclosed incomplete information, submitted fictitious documents, and used fraudulent means for getting licenses and thereby access to the spectrum. Multiple licenses were cancelled, many businessmen and politicians were sent to jail. Some of the court cases are still going on. The growth of the broadband sector in the country got quite accelerated, but remained below the growth estimates of the government and related agencies. This bottleneck was removed in the year 2010 when the government auctioned the 3G spectrum, followed by an equally high-profile auction of the 4G spectrum that set the scene for a competitive market. In 2010, 3G and 4G telecom spectrum were auctioned in highly competitive bidding. Tata Docomo was the first private operator to launch 3G services in India. The government earned 677 billion rupees from the 3G spectrum auction, and the broadband wireless spectrum auction generated a revenue of 385 billion rupees for total revenue of 1062 billion from both auctions. State-owned telecom companies BSNL and MTNL were also awarded spectrum, although they did not participate in the auction. BSNL paid the Indian government rupees 101 billion for spectrum in 20 circles, and MTNL got spectrum for 3G services in 2 circles, Delhi and Mumbai. In 2012, the DoT auctioned 2G spectrum in both GSM and CDMA bands. In 2014, the Department of Telecommunications auctioned a 2G telecom spectrum in the frequency range of 900 MHz and 1800 MHz. The winners were awarded the spectrum in February. The government earned rupees 612 billion rupees from the spectrum auction. The 800 MHz spectrum auction was cancelled by the Supreme Court following the 2G spectrum case. The 2022 auction of 5G spectrum. The government mopped up a record of over rupees 1.5 trillion from India's first auction of 5G spectrum in 2022, with Reliance Jio emerging as the largest bidder. Let's have a look at this table to know the spending and purchases of each telecom company in the 2022 5G auction. Internet access in India is now provided by both public and private companies using a variety of technologies and media. India has the world's second largest internet user base. As of July 2022, there are about 692 million active internet users in India. There were 584 internet service providers offering broadband and narrowband internet services in India as of 30th September 2021. Consolidations through mergers and acquisitions have happened in the telecom industry from the launch of services in India in the initial years. So, with these consolidations happening since 2000, by the end of 2012, there were 15 different service providers, which decreased to 6 service providers by 2022. While there may be 6 service providers providing wireless services by the year 2022, the top 4 service providers account for more than 90% of revenue and 80% of spectrum holding. Post the starting of the commercial operation of Reliance Jio in September 2016, the telecom market saw a huge change in terms of falling tariff rates and reduction of data charges, which changed the economy for some of the telecom players. This resulted in the exit of many smaller players from the market. Players like Videocon and Sistema sold their spectrum under spectrum trading agreements to Airtel and Arcom, respectively, in Q4 of 2016. On 23rd February 2017, Telenor India announced that Bharti Airtel will take over all its business and assets in India, and the deal will be completed in 12 months' time frame. On 14th May 2018, the Department of Telecommunication approved the merger of Telenor India with Bharti Airtel, paving the way for the final commercial closing of the merger between the two companies. Telenor India was acquired by Airtel almost without any cost. On 12th October 2017, Bharti Airtel announced that it would acquire the consumer mobile business of Tata Teleservices Limited and Tata Teleservices Maharashtra Limited in a debt-free, cash-free deal. The deal was essentially free for Airtel, which incurred TTSL's unpaid spectrum payment liability. The consumer mobile business of Tata Docomo, Tata Teleservices and Tata Teleservices Maharashtra Limited were merged into Bharti Airtel on 1st July 2019. Reliance Communications had to shut down its 2G and 3G services, including all voice services, and only offer 4G data services from 29 December 2017 as a result of debt and a failed merger with Aircel. Vodafone and Idea Cellular completed their merger on 31st August 2018, and their merged entity was renamed VI. The merger created the largest telecom company in India by subscribers and by revenue, and the second largest mobile network in terms of the number of subscribers in the world. Under the terms of the deal, the Vodafone Group holds a 45.1% stake in the combined entity, the Aditya Birla Group holds 26%, and the remaining shares are held by the public. However, even after the merger, both brands have continued to carry their own independent brands. With all this consolidation, the Indian mobile market has turned into a 4-player market, with Jio as the number 1 player with a revenue market share of 31%. Many analysts and commentators have expressed their concerns about excessive consolidation and lack of healthy competition in this industry. This is dramatically opposite to the hyper-competition scenario in India until a few years ago. Both TRAI and the Competition Commission of India will need to be hyper-vigilant to ensure that the industry does not become an oligopoly and that the consumers continue to get a fair deal. The regulatory framework over net neutrality was passed by the Department of Telecommunications on 12 July 2018. This framework restricts any form of discrimination, restriction, or interference in the treatment of content. ISPs that violate these rules can have their licenses cancelled. The regulations in India are considered to be the world's strongest net neutrality rules, guaranteeing free and open internet for all people. The Indian telecom sector is the third largest sector in terms of foreign direct investment inflows, contributing 7% of total FDI inflow. This sector supports employment for more than 4 million people in the country. Now, Let's take a quick look at this table to get a better understanding of the contribution of major service providers such as Airtel, Jio, VI and BSNL in the gross revenue of the telecom sector in the year 2018 to 2019 and 2019 to 2020. The Indian telecom industry has undergone high-paced market liberalization and growth since the 1990s and has now become the world's most competitive telecom market. The main drivers behind the liberalization of markets were competition and welfare enhancement. This called for opportunities not only for new entrants but also for incumbents. And this is how India's telecom market became the fastest growing investment pocket in the world. We will look at the recent growth of mobile internet services, the launch of 5G services, and the changes that it is likely to bring in our next video. We will also look at the consolidation of the telecom industry in a separate video. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with our next video in this series very soon. Till then, stay tuned, and if you like this video, let us know in the comment section below.